video, you will learn the concept of electric flux density. Let us assume a positive charge Q here. Any positive charge, it radiates equally in all the directions. So the positive charge, the lines will radiate outwards. Let us assume there is some positive test charge at this point. Now, if some positive test charge is kept at this point, this positive test charge, it will experience repulsive force because of this charge Q. So this line indicates the force experienced by a positive test charge. Similarly, if I keep a positive test charge at any other point, so these are the lines indicating the force experienced by a positive test charge. So by default, the test charge is always assumed to be positive. In the same manner, let us assume there is a negative charge kept here. Since this is a negative charge, a positive test charge kept at some point, for example here. So this positive test charge will experience attractive force because of this negative charge minus Q. So in the same manner, if I keep any positive test charge any point like this, so it will experience a attractive force because of this charge minus Q. For a negative charge, the lines of force, they always point inwards. If it is a dipole, let us say positive charge here and negative charge here, then in that case, as we have seen, from a positive charge, the lines, they go outward, and at the negative charge, the lines are inward. So, or in other words, the lines will start from positive charge and they will terminate at negative charge. So this will be the pattern of lines of force formed if it is a dipole. High density of the lines indicates there is a strong electric field. What you see here, these places. So low density indicates it is a weak electric field. Suppose there are two positive charges, one positive charge here and one positive charge here. So at a large distance, the number of lines would be approximately that of a single charge, as if this is a single charge of 2Q. If the test charge it is kept at large distance, then the test charge will feel that this is a combined charge of 2Q. The bulging of the field lines between the charges indicates repulsion. From a positive charge, the lines always go outward, but since these are two positive charges, so in this region there will be repulsive force. So that's why the lines of force, they seem to be bulging here. So in this region there will be a weak field. So the low field lines between the charges indicates weak field in that region. Suppose this is a dipole, but the charge, positive charge is 2Q and negative charge is minus Q. Now in that case, two lines leave the positive charge for each line which terminates on the negative charge. So obviously the number of lines starting from a 2Q charge, it will be double as compared to the lines which terminate at a negative charge minus Q. Based on this, let us define what is electric flux density. So for a given electric field, the number of lines of force, it indicates the strong field or the weak field. So this we measure in terms of electric flux density, and it's measured in terms of coulomb per meter. Higher the electric field strength E, higher is the electric flux density. So the electric flux density, it is directly proportional to electric field strength E, and the proportionality constant is decided by the medium in which we are applying electric field. So that proportionality constant is epsilon, and this is the permittivity of the medium. If it is a free space, then epsilon is equal to epsilon 0 for free space. In general, it is epsilon. So this equation gives the relationship between D and E. As per Coulomb's law, we have seen the electric field intensity. It is E equal to Q upon 4 pi epsilon R square AR, which is a vector quantity. So if I substitute this value of E here, then I can write the expression for D as Q upon 4 pi R square. Epsilon, epsilon, it will cancel here. So this is the expression for D, that is the electric flux density, because of a charge Q kept at a distance R. Now the electric flux is the rate of flow of the electric field through a given area. That is, or in other words, the number of electric flux lines passing through a given area. Now here, let us assume there is an electric field E here and there is a surface S. Now you know the surface S, it is a vector quantity. It has some magnitude as well as direction. Now in this given example, this is the surface S, and the direction of surface S, it is always perpendicular to the given surface. So this surface S, it is oriented in this direction. So this is the direction of this surface. Let us say AN. Now in this case, the direction of the surface S and direction of electric field intensity is same. So that means all the lines of force, they pass through this given surface S. Whereas if I tilt this surface with angle theta, then in that case, the normal direction of this surface, it will rotate by angle theta. So this will be angle rotated by angle theta, and this is the direction of E. So in this case, the number of flux lines passing through the surface S, they are going to decrease. So the electric flux passing through a surface is the number of electric field lines that pass through the surface, and it is a scalar quantity because it is just a number and given Newton meter square per coulomb or voltmeter. Now ds, as you know, the surface S, it is a vector quantity. As we have seen, if theta is equal to 0, all the flux passes through this surface. If the surface is tilted by angle theta, then in that case, the flux passing through this surface is the component of this flux which is in the direction of ds, that means the given area. So this is nothing but the component of the electric flux density in the direction of ds is nothing but ds cos theta. So if obviously if theta is equal to 0, that means if the surface is not tilted, all the flux is passing through this surface. If theta is equal to 90 degree, then in that case, no flux will pass through the surface. So in general, the flux passing through the surface psi, this is equal to surface integral d dot ds. So d dot ds, it is the component of electric flux density d in the direction of ds. So ds, it is the small incremental area at this point. So if I integrate this over the complete surface area, then it gives me the total flux passing through this surface, given by this surface integral d dot ds. So this concept is very useful in case of Gauss law. Next lecture, this same concept we will use for Gauss law. So the flux passing through surface S is maximum if D and ds are in the same direction. So this is the concept of electric flux density and how to find out the electric flux density passing through a given surface. So that is what we have discussed in this video.